It's the indictments of 17 alleged gang members for crimes all over Georgia.
Yeah, Barrow County grand jury indicted the defendants last week for crimes in 10 different counties.
Grand jury has indicted more than a dozen people allegedly involved in gang activity in 10 Georgia counties, including Athens, Clarke, Barrow, Chattooga, Fulton, and Gwinnett. The indictments come as part of Operation Dawnfall, an investigation by the GBI's Gang Task Force and the Georgia Department of Corrections. The indictment names 17 people alleged to be members of the gang 18 Trey Gangster Bloods and accuses them of everything from drug sales, two of them linked to this June 2020 arson in Lawrence County. But Carr says one of their most egregious crimes has been recruiting young children by holding seemingly family-friendly events.
They host basketball tournaments and barbecues. They do these types of things for one purpose: to recruit our young people into a life of crime and violence.
The 1-8 Trey Gangster Bloods, a subset of the United Blood Nation, emerged in the mid-1990s in the Bronx, New York, during a time of intense gang activity across the city. Named after 183rd Street, where many of its original members lived, the gang became part of the broader Bloods network that had expanded from Los Angeles to the East Coast, particularly within the prison system in urban neighborhoods. The UBN, founded in 1993 at Rikers Island, quickly spread to the streets, and various local sets, including the 183 Gangster Bloods, were formed. In a news conference at the state capitol Thursday afternoon, Attorney General Chris Carr and Governor Brian Kemp announced the indictments of more than a dozen alleged gang members. In a significant legal crackdown, a Barrow County grand jury has returned a 31-count indictment against 17 alleged members of the 1-8 Trey Gangster Bloods, including charges like drug trafficking and violations of the Georgia Street Terrorism and Prevention Act. Follows an extensive investigation dubbed Operation Dawnfall, led by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Gang Task Force and the Georgia Department of Corrections. The charges reveal the depth of criminal activity attributed to the gang, which is said to have operated across 10 Georgia counties, including Fulton, Gwinnett, and Athens, Clarke. According to Attorney General Chris Carr, the indictment alleges that these defendants engaged in a pattern of racketeering activity, aiming to illegally acquire money, weapons, and property to fuel their gang operations. One of the most shocking revelations from the investigation was the gang's use of family-friendly events like basketball tournaments and BBQs to recruit young children into their ranks. GBI Director Mike Register emphasized that these activities were a deliberate strategy to lure minors into a life of crime and violence. Additionally, the indictment highlights how the gang allegedly used social media and music videos to promote their criminal activities. Prosecutors pointed to a YouTube video from June 2019 that featured explicit lyrics glorifying violence and criminal behavior, arguing that such content is relevant evidence in the prosecution of these gang members. Despite some public criticism of using song lyrics in legal cases, authorities assert that when gang members openly broadcast their criminal acts, it becomes a crucial piece of evidence in building their case.
Life exclusively to benefit their gang.
They did so violently, investigators say. Over the course of 3.5 years, they carried out at least 32 drill rap videos made against any perceived threat to the gang.
They call people out directly. They make fun of incidents, individuals that have perished prior to gunfire, opposing gang members.
One of those locations is here on East Fordham Road. You see it's a busy shopping area. Two of the suspects, both under 18 years old, allegedly shot at someone here in the middle of the day. That was in 2020.
In the aftermath of the NYPD's Operation Drilly investigation.
These are the trigger pullers, the very few individuals that make it uncomfortable and downright dangerous for all the great people. And this gang conducted wolf pack-like searches throughout the investigation. What are they looking for? They're hunting opposing gang members.
According to the investigation, the defendants, alleged members of the G-Side Drilly Gang, a subset of Bloods, Sex, Money, Murder, are accused of engaging in a series of violent acts between September 20th, 2018 and March 15, 2022. These incidents reportedly took place primarily in the areas of East Gun Hill Road, Hall Avenue, and Decatur Avenue. During this period, the defendants are alleged to have carried out multiple incidents of violence, including fatal and non-fatal shootings and stabbings, resulting in the deletion of 2 individuals and injuries to 6 others. Defendants, who are also prominent in the drill rap scene, are accused of boasting about these violent acts in music videos posted on YouTube. The investigation led to the seizure of 18 firearms. Additionally, 3 defendants have been charged with committing violent acts while held at Rikers Island. One notable incident occurred on January 9, 2019, when, at approximately 1 o'clock, 4 defendants, including 1 teenager, along with other individuals, allegedly surrounded an 18-year-old CUNY prep student as he was leaving school and attempted to rob him. The defendants reportedly attacked the victim with multiple weapons, including a knife, resulting in serious injuries that required emergency medical intervention and life-saving blood transfusions. The incident was captured on video surveillance. On July 20, 2020, in front of 3343 Decatur Avenue, 6 defendants, 2 of whom were teenagers at the time, allegedly pursued James Rivera, 24. 4 defendants reportedly fired multiple shots at Rivera, and 1 defendant allegedly attempted to stab him after he fell to the ground. Rivera ultimately succumbed to a gunshot wound to the back. On September 29, 2020, at approximately 2 o'clock, 2 juvenile defendants allegedly fired shots at their intended target in a busy commercial area near a subway station on East Fordham Road, putting the lives of numerous bystanders, including children, at risk. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. On April 25, 2021, inside the Robert Ann Devorance Center on Rikers Island, 3 defendants are accused of assaulting a rival group member. Another incident occurred on March 17, 2021, when 4 defendants reportedly entered an apartment on Hall Avenue and allegedly shot Delilah Vasquez, 20, at close range. Surveillance footage shows the defendants entering and leaving the building. On June 28, 2021, at approximately 10 o'clock, 2 defendants allegedly fired multiple shots at their target in front of 3573 DeKalb Avenue. The shooting resulted in injuries to 3 uninvolved bystanders, a 66-year-old woman, a 39-year-old man, and a 31-year-old man. On the evening of October 22, 2021, 2 defendants reportedly waited outside a barber shop on East Gun Hill Road for about 15 minutes before entering and allegedly firing multiple shots at their intended target. The individual, who was getting a haircut at the time, attempted to take cover but was struck in the stomach and leg. He was transported to the hospital and survived the injuries. Surveillance footage shows patrons in the barbershop running for cover during the incident.
Tonight, 18 alleged gang members and their friends indicted on dozens of charges, including shootings, like this one in the Kings Plaza Mall in Brooklyn, when members of the Martens Beverly Bosses saw rival gang members at the mall. Cops say this is a big deal. Here's Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett.
The Kings Plaza Mall, 5:30 in the afternoon. A young man with a gun aims and fires at a rival gang member. The gun jams, the clip falls out, and there's pandemonium. Committed by members of the Martens Beverly Bosses, a violent street gang affiliated with the notorious gang known as the Bloods.
During the course of this investigation, we saw members firing indiscriminately during daylight hours in the crowds with total disregard to innocent persons as well as rival gangs.
District Attorney announced an indictment involving alleged members of the Martens Beverly Bosses, MBB, a group reportedly affiliated with the 5'9 Brims, a subset of the larger Bloods gang. MBB is said to have operated primarily in and around the East Flatbush area of Brooklyn. The indictment details a series of activities between June 1, 2016 and June 14, 2018, during which MBB was allegedly engaged in conflicts with several rival groups such as the Folk Nation. Numerous other violent incidents, including 2 fatal shootings, are described in the indictment as part of this ongoing rivalry. Recorded conversations among MBB members allegedly revealed frequent discussions about who was up on the scoreboard, referring to acts of violence between the gangs. The members reportedly used coded language, referring to firearms as ball kicks and missed shots as air balls. Incarcerated members were allegedly referred to as bench warmers. The indictment also claims that MBB kept incarcerated members informed about the group's activities, including arrests, acts of violence, and other events involving the gang. One incident detailed in the indictment occurred on July 8, 2017, at around 5:40 p.m. when Quentin Raymond, Jeremy Deneau, and Stephen Daly were at Kings Plaza Mall and spotted members of a rival gang. After attempting unsuccessfully to lure the rivals outside, Daly allegedly handed a firearm to Raymond, who tried to fire it but managed only a single shot as the gun reportedly jammed. Another incident occurred on September 16, 2017 at approximately 4:25 a.m. when Donovan Frazier was allegedly deleted by Jemani Carrington while exiting Franklin's Finest Deli in Crown Heights. Frazier was reportedly associated with Lincoln Fam, a rival group to MBB. On October 20, 2017, Jave Duncan and several others were walking along Linden Boulevard when Duncan allegedly fired 6 shots from a .380 caliber pistol at a rival, striking him once in the foot. The indictment also describes an incident on April 1, 2018, when Kobe Franklin, Harold Phillips, and 2 others allegedly left Phillips's residence and entered rival territory. Franklin is accused of carrying the firearm to and from the scene, while Phillips is alleged to have used it to delete Jerome Spence, a 26-year-old construction worker.
Taking down some young gang members in Brooklyn, some of them barely teenagers. And there's no shortage of surveillance video of the shootings that cops say involved mostly innocent bystanders. Nearly 20 accused gang members now busted for all kinds of charges, including
18 alleged gang members charged in 3 indictments with murder, weapons possession, and other charges. Detectives connected the defendants to 10 shootings that injured 10 people, 8 of them innocent bystanders. Police launched their investigation in the summer of 2021.
The investigation focused on street gangs operating along the border of Crown Heights and Bedford-Stuyvesant in Brooklyn. 15 of the defendants are reportedly members of the H Block Billy's gang, an alliance between a 5'9" Brim Blood set and a 9-Tray Blood set, with key locations at 260 to 280 Herkimer Street and 1625 Fulton Street in Crown Heights. The remaining 3 defendants are said to be members of the Gates Fam Street Gang, a subset of the Bloods, which operates around the Louis Armstrong houses in 523 Gates Avenue in Bedford-Stuyvesant. The indictment alleges that members of the H Block Billy's gang conspired to delete members of opposing gangs, often discussing their plans on social media through recorded jail conversations and via text messages. Some defendants were found with photos and videos of themselves handling or discussing firearms. Between August 2021 and the date of the indictment, the defendants are accused of carrying out numerous shootings and acts of violence to maintain control over their territory and assert dominance over rival gangs. According to the indictment, the alleged conspiracy began in August 2021 with a series of 3 shootings by H Block Billy's members within a 2-hour span. These incidents resulted in the deletion of 16-year-old Yaquan Gaz, a member of Gates Fam, and injuries to 3 others, including an innocent bystander mistaken for a rival. The second deletion cited in the indictment occurred on June 25, 2022, when 16-year-old Nashawn Campbell, an associate of a rival gang, was fatally shot in Brownsville's Dr. Green playground. H Block members Nishon Perry, Demetri Genjax, and Isaiah Charles are charged in connection with this incident, allegedly targeting Campbell while searching for rival gang members. The indictment further details several additional shootings carried out by H Block Billy's members. On April 12, 2022, Malcolm Davis and Shamari Griffith allegedly left their base at 260 Herkimer Street and traveled to 471 Gates Avenue, where they reportedly opened fire, injuring 3 bystanders. The victims included a 29-year-old man who sustained a spinal cord injury, a 42-year-old man with a graze wound, and a 45-year-old man with a gunshot wound to the thigh. On August 18, 2022, in Folk Nation gang territory, defendants Perry and Jamori Foster allegedly opened fire on a vehicle occupied by 4 people, shattering windows and causing damage, though no injuries were reported. On August 21, 2022, Charles Genjax and another unidentified individual allegedly opened fire on a crowd during a video shoot for a rapper associated with a rival gang, Lincoln Fam. The shooting resulted in a leg injury to a videographer and damage to several cars in the area. The indictment also mentions an incident on October 2, 2023, when Gates Fam member David Robinson allegedly attempted to run over H Block member Michael Hammond with his vehicle. After crashing into a city bike rack and knocking down a fire department pole, Hammond reportedly fired shots at Robinson's vehicle, striking him in the shoulder.
What police called the takedown of some of the most violent gang members they've ever seen.
All right, Lisa Evers joins us now with her exclusive look with the NYPD. Lisa.
Well, Stephen, Natasha, we had that firsthand look at how the NYPD is bringing alleged gang members who terrorize their own community to justice. And now the Bronx DA says they've been charged in a 176-count felony indictment. Nay Benz, police say you're a trigger puller. Police say you're a trigger puller. Is that true? What? Police say you're a trigger puller. Is that? The targets are 20 members of the Slattery gang based out of Slattery Playground in the Fordham section of the Bronx. That's aspiring drill rapper Nay Benz, who police say is one of the gang leaders. The average age of the case subjects is 20. Teen girls are trigger pullers too.
District Attorney Clark announced an indictment involving 17 males and 3 females associated with the Slattery, also known as Slattery Gang, which operates near Slattery Playground on East 183rd Street. The 176-count indictment includes charges of second-degree conspiracy, attempted deletion in the second degree, first-degree robbery, first-degree assault, second-degree criminal possession of a weapon, attempted gang assault in the first degree, second-degree robbery, and other related offenses. The charges stem from an 18-month investigation conducted by the Bronx District Attorney's Violent Criminal Enterprise Bureau and the NYPD Gun Violence Suppression Division. The investigation alleges that members of the gang conspired to possess firearms and commit violent acts against rival gang members between June 15, 2020 and June 27, 2024. This period included 14 shooting incidents, a violent altercation involving a sharp object inside Bronx Supreme Court, a carjacking at gunpoint, a stabbing, and multiple instances of illegal gun possession. The investigation revealed that members of Slattery use social media platforms, particularly Instagram and Facebook, to threaten rival gangs and promote their activities. They also posted drill rap videos on YouTube, where they boasted about various shooting incidents and mocked deleted rivals. 15 handguns and pistols were recovered during the investigation. One of the incidents occurred on June 18, 2020, when defendants Nazim King and Darren Williams allegedly ran toward a group of people playing cards at Morris Avenue and East 184th Street. King reportedly fired at least 6 shots, injuring 3 individuals who were not involved in gang activity. Shortly after the incident, Williams was shot by members of a rival gang, and King allegedly fired multiple shots in retaliation. Another incident took place on July 11, 2020, when King and Phoenix Charlie reportedly went to East 194th Street and Briggs Avenue. Charlie allegedly fired 4 shots intended for a rival, but instead struck a bystander. On January 27, 2023, Charlie and others encountered members of a rival gang in the Bronx Hall of Justice, outside the youth part on the 5th floor. They allegedly assaulted the rival group, and Charlie is accused of using sharp objects to inflict a large laceration on one individual, resulting in a wound from the lower chest to the abdomen that required 35 stitches. Later that day, Charlie reportedly posted on social media about the incident, claiming the courthouse as his territory. A week earlier, Charlie had shared a video on Instagram demonstrating how to smuggle scalpels into the courthouse.
Brooklyn gangs were indicted. CBS 2's Natalie Duddridge has more from downtown Brooklyn.
Video shows 2 men with dark hoodies walk into an Albany Avenue apartment and up the stairs where police say a Sweet 16 birthday was underway. Another man at the door pulls out a gun and starts shooting. It happened November 2020. Police say the intended target was this man in the elevator, believed to be a member of a rival gang. In total, 9 people were shot. A 20-year-old woman from Virginia district attorney outlined today that he believes these 17 alleged gang members are behind. The members are part of 3 violent street gangs that formed an alliance called YPF.
The alleged gang members are in custody, including 17-year-old Giovanni Bennett. He's accused of firing a gun right outside of MetroTech in broad daylight. A bullet hit a 19-year-old college student, an innocent bystander. Police also arrested these 2 17-year-olds in connection to a mass shooting. 8 people shot. 1 died outside the Eleanor Roosevelt houses over the summer.
The District Attorney's Office has announced the results of a long-term investigation conducted by the Violent Criminal Enterprises Bureau and the NYPD's Brooklyn North Violent Crime Squad into the alleged violent activities of 3 street gangs that formed an alliance. The groups identified as F&O Fear No One, based in Fort Greene, PPP Pistol Packing Pickin', based in East New York, and Yawa, Young and Wild and Hustling, based in Brownsville, collectively refer to themselves as YPF. The alliance was reportedly created to expand their influence and territory, allowing them to coordinate acts of violence against common adversaries and to establish control over geographic areas. According to the allegations, the alliance provided members with greater access to firearms and enabled them to move freely through each other's neighborhoods, effectively increasing their operational reach and allowing them to target rival groups more effectively. The YPF Alliance's territory is said to include several areas in Brooklyn. The Langston Hughes, Van Dyke, and Seth Lowe houses in the 73rd Precinct, Brownsville, which is recognized as Yawa's area, the vicinity of 2211 Pitkin Avenue, known as Fiorentino Plaza in the 75th Precinct, East New York, which is PPP's territory, and the Ingersoll houses and surrounding areas in the 88th Precinct, Fort Greene, which is associated with FNO. The individuals involved in these activities were reportedly between the ages of 14 and 20 at the time the conspiracies began. The investigation has revealed that several incidents were captured on surveillance cameras, and social media platforms were used by the accused to discuss and boast about their actions. Allegations include 14 separate shootings linked to YPF members, resulting in 14 shooting victims, including 9 individuals who were not involved in gang activities. 4 individuals were fatally injured in these incidents, while others sustained injuries. One notable incident allegedly occurred on October 28, 2020, when FNO members Equin Warlick and Nakai Addison reportedly targeted an individual they believed to be a rival inside a bodega on New Lots Avenue in East New York. During the altercation, 18-year-old college student Sherrod McCoy, who was not affiliated with any gang, was chased and subsequently deleted by Warlick outside the bodega. Addison allegedly took possession of the firearm and returned to the bodega to fire additional shots. Another incident took place on November 22, 2020, when it is alleged that George Risher Jr., Warlick, and at least 2 others traveled to East New York for a birthday party where perceived adversaries were expected to be present. The group allegedly fired at individuals near the venue, resulting in one person being struck in the leg and property damage. The situation escalated as the group pursued their perceived rivals to another location, where multiple shots were fired, resulting in the deletion of 20-year-old Digiona Long, a visitor from Virginia, and injuries to 5 other individuals. On September 21, 2021, another incident allegedly occurred involving FNO members at the Metrotech Mall in downtown Brooklyn. During this event, Giovanni Bennett reportedly fired several shots at a former FNO member who had joined a rival group, Berg Fam. An uninvolved New York University student was struck in the arm during the exchange. The indictments of these gang members mark a significant step in addressing the persistent threat of organized crime and gang violence in New York City. By holding these individuals accountable, law enforcement agencies are working to disrupt the cycle of violence and protect communities from further harm. While these legal actions represent progress, continued vigilance and collaboration between authorities and local communities will be essential in maintaining public safety and preventing future criminal activity.
We have the Fives League gang.
Abdullah, how will you plead to the charges? Alleged Fives League gang leader Abdullah Zika and other alleged accomplices were taken out of the 50th Precinct in the Bronx to face a judge on multiple felony charges ranging from armed robberies to attempted murder.
In a significant development, the Bronx District Attorney, in collaboration with the police commissioner, has unveiled charges against 12 individuals believed to be members of the Fives League crew. These charges encompass a range of violent crimes, including murder, attempted murder, conspiracy, and more, casting a shadow over the Bronx's safety. The Fives League crew, an offshoot of the Bloodhound Brims gang, has been linked to a series of violent incidents across the Bronx. Disturbingly, many of these acts of violence took place in broad daylight, heightening the sense of fear among residents. Among the most harrowing incidents is the tragic death of Ariel Santos, a 32-year-old innocent bystander who was caught in a crossfire near 178th Street and Arthur Avenue. This incident underscores the indiscriminate nature of the gang's violent activities. The accused, all aged between 16 and 22, are believed to be responsible for 23 violent crimes. This tally includes 10 non-fatal shootings and 11 robberies, in addition to the aforementioned murder of Santos. The nature of these crimes paints a grim picture, with the gang targeting vulnerable individuals, including the elderly, cab drivers, and even an on-duty NYS parole officer. In several instances, victims were robbed at gunpoint or knife point, with some facing severe physical assault. 2 particular incidents highlight the audacity of the gang's operations. One involved a shooting near Ho Avenue and East 174th Street, where a mother and her 2 children were dangerously close to the 3 shots fired. Another saw brazen shootout at 1825 Prospect Avenue, with a staggering 18 shots ringing out. At number 4, we have the Money World, local trap stars, and never forget loyalty gang indictment.
Officials think this could be the largest gang takedown in
18-year-old Amir Griffin in 2019. Griffin, a young innocent bystander, became an unintended victim of a gang member's bullet. Another notable case within the indictment is the killing of Sean Vance, which occurred on the eve of New Year's 2020. At the house, coupled with never forget loyalty on the other. The animosity between these factions reached a boiling point following the murder of Amir Griffin in October 2019. Post this incident, the area witnessed a spike in violence, with over 22 reported shootings, one of which was fatal. The feud wasn't just confined to the streets. It spilled over to social media platforms and rap videos. Both factions took to these platforms, brazenly flaunting their violent escapades and ridiculing their adversaries. At number 3, we have the South Side and Third Side gang indictment.
City, 46 Park Avenue boys, bro. Crack. Now take this picture of jail. Jail Curry. Picture of jail Curry.
Y'all forgot I got all of the hits. Pop, Eli, James, Snitch. And we still smoke around the zip. Can't forget the little nasty. I remember I ran in the 6. Woke up blaming, fuck out the whip.
Wow, what the hell is that?
United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, in conjunction with NYPD Commissioner, has unveiled the unsealing of an indictment targeting members of 2 notorious Bronx gangs, South Side and Third Side. The spotlight of the indictment shines on several individuals, including Kevin Perez, known by his alias K-Flock, Devin Mason, Arvin Beeman, Nicholas Johnson, Sean Smith, and Jossie Castro, all affiliated with the South Side gang. From the Third Side gang, Ishaya Rosen and Michael Gant have been implicated in a superseding indictment. The charges encompass a range of criminal activities, notably racketeering, conspiracy, and other violent offenses. A standout charge is against Perez aka K-Flock, who is accused of orchestrating the gang-related assassination of Waskar Hernandez on December 16, 2021, in Hamilton Heights, Upper Manhattan. The indictment further details charges related to attempted murder and assault with a dangerous weapon, which are tied to a series of 7 shootings that occurred in the Bronx between June 2020 and February 2022. Both gangs, operating predominantly within the 48th precinct in the Bronx, have a track record of violent confrontations with rival street factions. Their audacity is further exemplified by their brazen promotion of their illicit activities on social media platforms and through music that alludes to real-life violent incidents. Their sphere of influence and disputes weren't confined to the Bronx. They extended their reign of terror to Manhattan, resulting in multiple violent confrontations. The gravity of the charges is evident in the potential penalties. Kevin Perez aka K-Flock, for instance, is staring down the barrel of charges that include racketeering conspiracy, murder in aid of racketeering, and use of a firearm resulting in death. If convicted, he could face mandatory life imprisonment or even the death penalty. Devin Mason and Arvin Beeman are also grappling with severe charges, with potential penalties ranging from mandatory minimum sentences of 10 to 20 years to life.
Alleged members of a dangerous gang are off the streets of Jacksonville following a long-term investigation by local and federal authorities.
Well, Katie, the sheriff went as far as to say that this gang, the Rolling 20s, has been dismantled. This was a large-scale operation. The sheriff says this gang has ties up and down the East Coast. Now, this investigation all started back in April 2016. Sheriff Mike Williams says the Rolling 20s gang is responsible for the planning and a man who was a witness in a separate case against a gang member. The Rolling 20s members and associates face charges ranging from murder to cocaine sale. Now, police made the arrests in 2 phases. The first, 22 members, and then the second phase, members and associates who tried to fill those voids.
41 individuals suspected of being members of the multi-state gang known as the Rolling 20s were arrested in Jacksonville following a 2-phase investigation, according to an announcement by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Mike Williams also noted that 5 additional members remain at large and are currently wanted by authorities. The investigation initially began in response to the 2016 deletion of security guard Michael Wright. During the inquiry into this case, JSO focused on the primary suspect, Quinny Hudson. Wright was expected to testify against Hudson, who had been jailed in 2014 for allegedly throwing a concrete stone through a car window occupied by a woman and a small child. Hudson was later found guilty in 2017 for orchestrating a plot to delete Wright while in jail. As the investigation progressed, authorities uncovered Hudson's affiliation with the Rolling Twenties, described as a structured organization within the Bloods gang. This connection revealed the gang's involvement in multiple acts of violence and criminal activities across Jacksonville, including deletions, attempted deletions, robbery, narcotics trafficking, firearms trafficking, arson, witness intimidation, and other serious offenses dating back to May 2015. Sheriff Williams stated that the Rolling Twenties gang was more organized than the typical neighborhood-based street gangs usually seen in Jacksonville. The gang's hierarchy extended beyond the city into other regions, with branches in cities such as Augusta, Richmond, Baltimore, and various locations in California. The Rolling Twenties' influence along the East Coast highlighted the breadth of their operations. Following the initial phase of the investigation, 22 suspected gang members were arrested in Jacksonville and charged by the state attorney's office. By the conclusion of the second phase, the total number of arrests had increased to 46, with some suspects facing federal charges. During the investigation, law enforcement, as the leader of the G-Shine Bloods, Xavier Reed was responsible for enforcing discipline, managing the gang's revenue streams from drug sales, and overseeing the operation of a lucrative dogfighting ring. These criminal activities funded the group's violent acts and helped Reed consolidate his power. To maintain control over illegal activities in Monmouth County, Reed employed intimidation tactics against those who showed disloyalty to him or the gang. He also sought to violently retaliate against former members and rivals. This included a conspiracy to two rivals and a member of a Lakewood-based G-Shine set who resisted his efforts to merge the set into his organization. Reed was aware of the ongoing conflicts between rival street gangs, such as the G-Shine Bloods and Grape Street Crips, and often bragged about uniting members from different gangs under a common criminal agenda. This alliance, which comprised of G-Shine Bloods, 4-7 Neighborhood Crips, and the Grape Street Crips, referred to as Golden State, was prepared to retaliate against anyone who disrespected them. The gang's criminal enterprise involved the possession, distribution, and sale of firearms within the network and was linked to more than a dozen shooting incidents in areas such as Asbury Park, Long Branch, Tinton Falls, Keansburg, and Neptune Township. The investigation revealed that Reed and other affiliates, including Dacian Smith, known as Beefy from Asbury Park, were responsible for violent acts across Asbury Park, Freehold Borough, and Neptune Township. The dogfighting operation extended beyond state borders, working with breeding facilities that trained dogs to fight and participating in interstate dogfighting events. In one instance, Reed lost $5,000 on a dogfight in Philadelphia. He also boasted about feeding his fighting dogs chickens and rabbits. Attorney General Gerber S. Gruhl announced that a state grand jury has indicted the alleged leader and 16 members of a narcotics network connected to the Blood Street Gang, accused of distributing significant quantities of drugs in Patterson. Additionally, 16 more individuals face charges for narcotics possession, including 15 who allegedly purchased drugs from the network, bringing the total number of defendants to 34. The investigation targeted a drug trafficking ring based in Patterson's 4th Ward, specifically an area known as 4K or the Four Corners, encompassing intersections at Mercer Street and Putnam Street, Rosa Parks Boulevard and Putnam Street, Mercer Street and Warren Street, and Rosa Parks Boulevard and Warren Street. This area is notorious for open-air drug dealing and gun violence. The drug network was allegedly operated by a local Bloods faction called the 4K Bloods, or Corner Boys. In November, authorities apprehended most of the suspects, including the alleged ringleader, Jalmo Reese, 35, of Passaic and J, and one of his primary suppliers, Jesse Garcia, 27, of Lodi and J. Reese and several other defendants are said to be members of the 4K Bloods. During the crackdown, authorities executed a search warrant at Garcia's residence, seizing 90 pounds of that H, a handgun, hollow-point bullets, and over $19,000 in cash. In total, 3 firearms were confiscated during the investigation. The other members faced various second and third-degree drug charges, while the 16 alleged buyers faced third-degree drug possession charges. Attorney General Christopher Esperino announced that a state grand jury has indicted 27 individuals accused of being part of a gang-affiliated drug network distributing in Newark. Among the defendants, 18 are charged with first-degree gang criminality as alleged members of the Red Breed Guerrillas, a faction of the Blood Street Gang. Authorities discovered that the Red Breed guerrillas maintained a structured hierarchy that controlled drug distribution in the Stratford Place area and Grace West Manor townhomes along Irvin Turner Boulevard in Newark. The gang's dominance in this territory contributed to increased violence and criminal activities. Investigators found that individuals who were not associated with the Red Breed guerrillas faced violent consequences if they attempted to sell drugs within the gang's controlled area. Colonel Rick Fuentes, superintendent of the New Jersey State Police, added, "The Red Breed guerrillas' control over this neighborhood not only endangered residents through drug trafficking, but also due to the violence associated with protecting their territory." The investigation revealed that the gang operated with a distinct hierarchical structure, reinforcing its grip over the area. 5 members of the Mad Stone Bloods gang have been sentenced in Roanoke for their involvement in a criminal conspiracy that included smuggling drugs and contraband into Virginia prisons and facilitating drug sales outside of these facilities with the help of complicit correctional officers. Acting Assistant Attorney General Cronin highlighted the broader impact of these activities, noting that gangs operating within prison systems not only contribute to the flow of drugs and violence into these institutions, but also spread drug-related violence into surrounding communities. Court cases in which Nicholas and Epps pleaded guilty, along with evidence presented at the trials of 3 other gang members, revealed that the MSB gang operates in several states, including Virginia, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, and Maryland. Members of the gang admitted to engaging in activities such as narcotics trafficking, wire fraud, mail fraud, and acts involving deletions both inside and outside of prison. The national leadership of the gang is based in New York, and MSB leaders in Virginia are reported to follow orders from these New York-based leaders. In addition, the gang worked with employees of the Virginia Department of Corrections, including correctional officers and an inmate counselor, to smuggle controlled substances, phones, accessories, and other contraband into several prison facilities to assist incarcerated MSB members.
Tonight, these are the men facing charges in their Anthony Foy, Nathaniel Mitchell, Antonio Simmons, and Alvon Davis. 33 charges in all, including an attempted racketeering, assault, and drug charges. Federal authorities say they are members of the 9 Trey gangsters affiliated with the United Blood Nation. The indictment says a conflict between 2 local sets of the gang is what fueled the crime spree on Robin Hood Road in Norfolk. 6 days later, the shooting stopped when officers arrested Foy and Mitchell following an armed robbery at the Shell gas station on Portsmouth Boulevard. The indictment alleges Foy and Mitchell committed 10 shootings together last December. Simmons, the gang leader, allegedly participated in the planning of at least 3 shootings.
4 members of the local set of the 9 Trey gangsters have been indicted for their alleged involvement in 5 deletions and 5 other shootings that occurred in December 2015. The indictment outlines that these incidents stem from a conflict between 2 local sets of the 9 Trey, a gang affiliated with the United Blood Nation. The set led by Simmons, which included Foy, Mitchell, and Davis, was at the center of the violent events. According to the indictment, Foy and Mitchell were responsible for all 10 shootings, with Simmons having planned at least 3 of the attacks. Davis acted as the getaway driver in multiple shootings and assisted in disposing of a body. Among the victims was 48-year-old Linda Lassiter and her boyfriend Wayne Davis. Linda's father, Horace Lassiter, expressed some relief at the indictments but still has unanswered questions. Other victims include Altaric Tynes, 27, whose body was found in a ditch in Chesapeake on December 10th, Bendelette Mercer, 27, who was deleted on December 15th in Portsmouth, and Jamisha Roberts, 25, who was deleted on December 21st in Norfolk. The shootings came to an end following the arrests of Foy and Mitchell after an armed robbery at a Portsmouth Shell gas station in December 2015. Police recovered a gun, casings, bullets, and cell phones that linked them to the incidents. Foy and Mitchell had previously been convicted and sentenced for their involvement.